Hello everyone, and welcome back to a brand new video. It's been a while. It's been a very long time, I believe, since August. But the F1 esports season is finally over, so I decided to jump in back into a league race around Brazil, which I did race in the F1 esports series. So yeah, pace should be there. It should be a decent one. But yeah, I assume most people know, but if you don't and you don't follow the F1 esports series, I did become an F1 esports driver for McLaren, and it was pretty intense. We had to practice quite a lot, and of course racing the event. So that didn't leave much time to do everything else. So yeah, that's why the league racing, all the uploads and the streaming stopped. But yeah, that's done now. We finished sixth in the constructors' championship, McLaren Shadow. Fairly disappointing, but yeah, there's lots of potential there. But yeah, heading into this race then. Full quali, of course, which we are used to because that's what's used in F1 esports. Um, Interestingly, the pace at Brazil was the worst out of the three tracks I did. So I did Imola, Mexico, and Brazil was definitely my worst track of the three. But who cares? It's just a league race. We're not in the championship fight. This is just for fun. So yeah, going into Q1 then. We just put a safe lap on the board. Nothing special. As my engineer says, what is that? But it's 6.411. Something interesting to note is that obviously in esports, which is much more competitive, everyone is super fast. The cutoff is actually extremely difficult. So, for example, the lap I just did right there, although it was a decent lap, it would have been out in Q1 and F1 esports. So, yeah, there's definitely less like mental pressure on you after doing esports to get that lap in, because you just know just naturally. Obviously, this isn't the same strength in terms of the field compared to F1 esports, so you just know that you can do a little bit of an easier lap, and that definitely helped me anyway. It felt like I had pretty much no pressure on me because I knew I had the pace in the tank, and I didn't especially have to do a crazy lap. But yeah, that was enough to get me through. Only using one set of tires, of course. Obviously, if you use one set in Q1, you get an extra fresh set for Q2, and then if you get through Q2 on one set, then you have two fresh sets to use in Q3. So yeah, we get through in fourth place and moving on to Q2. Once again, not a brilliant lap, but we're not needing anything particularly special to get through. I actually did go out in Q2 in F1 esports with a 0.2. I think it was a low 0.2 as well. So that just shows the difficulty of F1 esports. We get through comfortably on a 0.3 in this league. But yeah, we get through on one set of tires once again, meaning we have two fresh sets to use for Q3, which is always helpful, extra chances. We're going to skip straight to my final lap now, or what should have been my final lap. But as you see coming into this uphill right-hander, missed that curb there. Gives me a little bit less rotation. We missed that curb, and I decided to back out. But luckily, the Brazil tires don't wear out that quickly, and I had enough fuel, so I just went again, and this is actually my final lap, which I'll take you through fully. So coming into turn one, you want to be braking just after the 50-meter board, down to third or fourth gear. Either one works. Take a little bit of curve for turn one, and as much as possible for turn two and the exit of turn three. Stick as far over to the left as you can without losing the car like I just did right there to minimize the distance, gain a little bit more time, and then brake in just before the 50-meter board for turn four. We use fifth gear, take as much curb as possible, make sure not to run out wide. Very easy to invalidate there. This time through this uphill right-hander, taking a little bit more curb, gives us more rotation. We get a better exit. Down into this right-hander, taking as much curb as possible. Didn't get this perfect, but it was pretty clean. Hooking up all the apexes. And now into this next downhill right. We use fourth gear, give me a lot of rotation. Strain the car up on the exit. Good traction there. And we need to make sure not to overheat the tires through this pretty much final corner, which we take pretty nicely. Very close to that inside curb. Using the curb on the outside as well. And that was a pretty decent lap of Brazil. Activating DRS, sticking over to the left. Gain that little bit extra time. And it's going to be a 1 minute 6.088, which was enough for pole position. So if you're wondering where Jarno Otmir is, because he is in this race, he actually went out in Q2 because he qualified on the medium tyres. There is a threat of rain right towards the end, so his plan is to go on the mediums until the rain comes, but it's pretty risky because you don't know exactly what lap the rain will come. It might come a bit too late, and it might even be possible to stay on the dry tyres all the way till the end. But we'll see. And looking behind us then, as you can see, we have Fab and Simon, both F1 esports drivers. We've actually got pole by just under a tenth. I think everyone could have gone a little bit quicker though. I think we got the lap fairly hooked up, fairly close to what I can do on that setup anyway. But yeah, getting into the race now then. 5 lights are now coming on as we get ready for the WOR Brazilian Grand Prix. It's lights out, and of course we've got a terrible start. We kind of block off Simon there by going as close as possible to Fab. We go round the outside, brake a little bit later, and we have the better line into turn 2. So we've managed to maintain the lead despite getting the worst start. I think the factor is Brazil, and we have a short run down to turn 1 helped us with that. But yeah, now the plan, obviously, just drive as quick as possible, not absolutely destroy our energy, as you should be doing. It's okay to use a little bit if you think you have really good pace. It's possible to break away, or at least break some people out of the train, so that, you know, you kind of reduce the amount of people that can fight for the win. And so far, pretty tidy. Getting used to the heavy fuel loads, of course. Maintaining about a 6/10 gap to Fab. I believe behind me, see they're sliding a little bit through the final corner. Not ideal. Setup isn't perfect, but it is pretty decent. But as you can see there, I'm using my battery because I can see a little gap opening up already. Not just to Fab, but to the guys behind. And as I just said, you want to get as many people out as possible, the fight for that lead, without compromising your own race too much in terms of battery percentage. So yeah, I think right now we're doing a fairly good job. Pace is strong, but we'll see how that carries on. Fab go. No indication of how fast he is. He could be like 5/10 a lap slower, you never know. As I say there, he could be about 5/10 a lap slower. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration from me, but that is a good point. Someone saying let Fab go straight away, when you don't know, he could be much slower than you. He might be on a quali setup, whereas you're on a race setup. I think you should at least try first, see how the pace is, and if the guy behind you is always constantly 2/10 behind you, just let him go and stick with him. I think that'll probably be a bit more beneficial. But as you can see with Fab, I've maintained around 5, 6, maybe at some point 7/10. Starting to slide around already, which isn't decent. But as you can see, the gap behind Donoso, we almost got a second, as I say there, almost a second. So we use a little bit more battery. And this next lap, we're going to try and push just to get Matthias out. Never mind. But as you'll see there, Matthias used a lot of battery himself. And he genuinely had really good race pace. Same with F1 Esports, he was very quick. So yeah, that's the kind of the sacrifice you make when you try and use your battery to break away, but they just stay in DRS anyway. And now I've probably got less battery than I really should have. But yeah, moving on to lap number 4. We've let Fab go ahead of us. Gives us a chance to save some battery, see how what his pace is like. He might be very quick and could drag us along. Currently still 7/10 to Matthias, but he does get DRS through here, so he'll most likely catch up. But yeah, as you'll see coming through this next corner, I mentioned in qualifying, very easy to invalidate, and we go a tiny bit wide here, and oh, that was rough. That's a warning, as I say there. That was pretty rough, but you know, it happens. But yeah, Fab at this point had some pretty strong pace. As you can see there, I used a little bit of battery. I was still within DRS, but I was a bit uncomfortable with how far behind I was getting, which made me use a little bit of battery, and you know, every percentage battery you use is not ideal when you're behind in the DRS. So yeah, maybe a little bit of a lack of pace right now. Matthias has caught right up to us as well. So yeah, we just need to hold on, try and recover a bit more ERS, and then go for a move just before the pit stops, which should be around lap 12, ideally, I think. But yeah, moving on now to the end of lap 12. As you can see, still got Fab ahead of us. Not got that much battery. As you can see, Fab was pretty far ahead of us coming out of that final corner every time. And we had Matthias and the guys behind us. But as I just said there, 10 minutes, that's Jeff telling us when the rain's coming. And we said, should we go on softs? Because that will take us to the rain. But we did not trust Jeff. And we've gone on mediums, which I think was the safe option. Now we could get unfortunate and it starts raining within the next, few laps. Then softs will be much better as we almost bin it coming out of the pits. But yeah, me and Fab both decided to go mediums, just a safe option. And as we come out of the pits now, if you can see the arrows on my car, big train of cars coming out there. Important, very important that we stayed ahead of them. Otherwise, that would pretty much be race ruined. But we do manage to come out ahead of them. And now we need to use even more battery to get back within a comfortable range of Fab to make sure that he doesn't break out of that 1 second window. Very important that you don't let...
Jarno's one.
As I say there, Jarno's one. Because he is on the medium still, chilling in the lead. And at that point I was thinking, yeah, when the rain comes, he's going to box straight into us and he's going to have a big gap to the rest of us. But we'll see how that turns out. So, yeah, moving on then. All the way on to lap 23. As you can see, in that train of cars is Liam Parnell, who's on mediums. And just to clarify something as well, anyone who's seen this race live would have known that Jeffrey Ritchie, another driver in this race, who was a lap down, was on soft tyres and was dragging Fabrizio Donoso along in the DRS, which is pretty terrible. It was planned. You can hear them in the call talking about it and stuff. That's why it was quite hard to keep up with the pace. It was as now Jake goes for the move on Liam on these dead mediums. We do think about going for the move, dive bomb here, but we just wait for the straights, just take the smart option. But yeah, it was quite difficult because normally the front of the train doesn't have DRS and everyone stays really close. But Fab had DRS as well, which made it even harder because the pace was just insanely quick. But yeah, now going to get past Liam Parnell. We were going to go to the inside, but we were thinking maybe Liam would swipe left into the pits because he's on dead tyres, but he doesn't. And we go around the outside. I think Matthias sticks his nose in there as well. That could have been bad, but yeah, we leave the room and we get that move done.
Oh my God, Matthias.
With Matthias right behind me. And the battery isn't looking great right now. And the gap to Jake isn't looking great either. But there's a little bit of battling going on ahead because another medium runner yet to pit, Tom Martinez, has just been overtaken. And we got to get a move done on him ASAP. Otherwise, we could lose that second to Jake, which obviously we don't want to do. So, yeah. So after locking my rears and almost spinning out of the race, we are now on to Tom Martinez. Matthias got past, and we get another warning there. Not ideal. But luckily for us, Tom, I thought he was defending at first, but I go to the outside and you see he backs off.
Thank you, Tom.
I say there, thank you to Tom. If he made it difficult and we got stuck behind another lap, that could have been game over. I'd probably have to dive bomb it somewhere. But now... I think the only car left is Jarno, if I remember correctly. He was a bit further up the road. But at this point, his tyres are going to be extremely worn, and it's getting dark, but no rain, which is crucial, which helps us, obviously. The later it comes up, the better, because we can catch up to Jarno. But yeah, now we need to just try and stick with the guys, save some battery. Haven't got the greatest amount of battery.
Pit a lap later than me, didn't he?
As I say, they Matthias pit a lap later than me. His tyres are a tiny bit better, a little bit more pace.
Got more pace.
As I say there. But we are sticking in the DRS, which is important. It's what matters. But yeah, skipping on to lap number 30. We've caught up to Jarno. We got past Matthias as well, but we did get a 3-second penalty. That's thrown away our chances of the win, but who cares? Just for fun. But yeah, we've caught up to Jarno on his 30-lap old medium tyres, and no matter how good your pace is with these tyres, there is absolutely no way you'll have grip. And coming onto the straight, using the RS just in case he goes defensive. I don't think he will.
3 boxes. No, he doesn't.
He's going to try and stick her out to the rain, which still hasn't come yet on lap 31. But yeah, pretty simple move. Still within the DRS of Jake. As you can see, Fab is gone. Fab has gone down the road. And unless something catastrophic happens to him, I think he's won this race. But we can still try and get Jake. So yeah, skipping on to...
Imagine what Jarno's tyres are like. Mine have turned orange on the indicator, Jack. Imagine Jarno's.
It's like a red flashing icon.
It's like a warning in his ear. They're about to explode.
So moving on to lap 32 then, and Jake Benham, who paid lap 10 compared to my lap 12, his tires are pretty dead. So we're gonna go for the move now. And as you can also see, the rain has now started coming down. So yeah, we get the move done on Jake down the inside.
Yano soft.
And
Softs.
Jack says there, Yano's gone on softs.
If it doesn't
So,
get heavy enough.
Yeah. At this point, we think the rain is not going to come down heavy enough to have to pit to Inters, which was perfect for our strategy. Didn't quite work out for Yano. And it stays like this till the end of the race. Fab takes a very good win. We come in P2 on track. Penalties drop us down to 6th. Not that it matters, as I said, not in this championship, just for fun. But yeah, pretty fun race. We got a pole position and P2 on track in the race. So pace is quite decent. And yeah, PSGL starts in January.
So don't include Fab in the results. So pretty much I won. I won.
We're talking about Jeffrey Ritchie. They're giving slipstream to Fab a lap down. But yeah, PSGL starts January. Looking forward to that. Thank you all for watching today. And I will see you soon for what should hopefully be F1 Esports highlights, if I get the recordings.
Oh, wait.
But yeah.